Hi, my name is Rick Bloodworth. This is the Common Sense Christian Financial Channel, and today we're going to continue with the subject that we introduced the other day that was under the heading of Pay Yourself First. If you want to go back and look at some old videos, you can see some on different budget items, especially the main two budget items that most people are going to be dealing with, that being house and auto. But after we looked at those budget items, we talked about the fact that really when we're setting a budget, after we've taken out for taxes and for any giving that we might be doing, we want to make sure we pay ourselves first. And that paying ourselves first is going to go a long way as far as making sure you can set a budget that's workable, and as far as making sure that you've got a little bit of savings and investment put aside for future events and for difficult times that may come up now. And so if you haven't looked at any of those videos and you're interested in them, I'd encourage you to go back and look at them, but especially the Pay Yourself First video, because that's where we start introducing this idea of savings and investments. And today I want to talk about, in this category of paying yourself first, the investments that we might be wanting to make. And again, as with all this, it's not really financial advice. It's just some observations I've made through the years. My master's degree is in finance and economics. I've run my own business, several of them. I've invested in everything from stocks to commodities to physical metals. And so I've got some experience in these areas. I've read a lot of books. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on this from people who are experts, and I've made a lot of mistakes and I've had a few successes. And so I'm just going to be passing along some of the observations that I have made through about 45 years of investing. As a matter of fact, my first investment was in 1980. And I decided that I wanted to start investing in silver. Actually, it's 1981. I think it was August of 1981. So 44 years ago nearly, I started investing in E.F. Hutton's silver accumulation program. Wasn't a big deal at that time for me. I was just a kid in college, and I was using part of my proceeds for my salary at Kentucky Fried Chicken, a part-time job I had, and just started dabbling in investments. And since that time, I've done a number of different things through the years, but I've learned a lot of lessons, some the hard way as far as the proper way to invest, and some safer ways to invest. And so I want to talk about those today. When we talk about paying yourself first, especially if we're talking about setting aside a certain amount each month from our paycheck, we really have the opportunity to do something that's called dollar cost averaging. And that's going to be really important for today's video, because it's this concept that will allow us to steadily accumulate whatever it is we're wanting to accumulate, and also to do so in a way that doesn't put all of our eggs into one basket, at least not at the very beginning. And so let's just start with an example. Let's say you've got $100 a month you want to invest in something. Maybe it's a mutual fund, maybe it's physical silver or some other type of a commodity that you can actually keep in your possession or hold in a safe deposit box or something like that. But let's just, for sake of this example, say we want to start accumulating silver at $100 a month. And you might want to, at the same time, be starting some type of a mutual fund where you're wanting to put $100 a month into that as well. So anyway, we're just going to use the example of silver. And right now, silver on average is about $35 an ounce. It's actually about $33 an ounce. But after you add the seller's premium to it, or the buyer's premium to it, you're going to be paying about $35 an ounce. And so what do you do with that? Do you just take your savings and put an entire year's worth of savings into that? Well, you can, but if you do, there are certain risks involved with that. If you guess right and you buy at the lower end of the market, well, you'll feel pretty smart at the end of that year for having bought early. But if the market goes down, you're going to feel pretty not so smart as a result of doing that. And because of that, you might get discouraged entirely and stop investing. Well, this dollar cost averaging is going to protect you from that type of a problem. While it may limit some of the profits had you guessed right and invested it all at once, it's certainly going to smooth things out, and especially losses. And so we want to start with an example of either a mutual fund that's selling for $35 per share, or an ounce of silver that's selling for $35 an ounce, and just kind of use that as we go through on this example. Let's say the first month, an ounce of silver will cost you about $35 after the premium per ounce. Well, you're going to be able to buy approximately 3 ounces with $100. Actually, it's going to be 105. We'll round it down just a little bit on that. The second month, things are going great. You've started investing in something that's going up in value, and now it's $40 an ounce, and you're just really happy about that. But when you go in, you can only buy about 2.5 ounces this month because it's more expensive. And let's say in month 3, it's really going up nicely, and now it's $50 an ounce. You are riding the wave up. You're investing into it. Everything's going great. You buy 2 ounces of silver, because that's all $100 will buy you in the third month. And then the fourth month, reality of investing sets in, and your investment takes a drop. Now it's down to $40 an ounce. But the good news is, instead of just being able to buy 2 ounces of silver this month, you can buy 2.5 ounces. So you're getting a little bit more silver, or mutual fund shares, whatever you want to use as your example. But in the fifth month, it continues to drop. Now it's $35 an ounce. Well, you can buy 3 ounces, but you're starting to feel like maybe you've made a mistake. Everything you've bought so far is either staying the same or going down. And then month 6, you buy again. It's just $25 an ounce. Well, the good news is you can buy 4 ounces with that $25 an ounce, and so you get a little bit more silver, but again, your overall investment is just going down. And then in months 7 and 8, it just gets worse. It drops to $20 an ounce and stays there for a couple of months. And so you go ahead with your plan, your dollar cost averaging. You buy each month $100 worth of silver at $20 an ounce. That's $5 a month, or a total of 10 ounces for the 2 months. And then you get to months 9 and 10, and silver has dropped to $15 an ounce. And you're feeling really bad about your investment at this point. But you go ahead and you keep with your plan, and you buy about a little over 6 ounces of silver each month. It's going to give you 13 ounces of silver for these 2 months at $15, about $195 for 2 months worth of your dollar cost averaging. And then month 11, finally, it starts going back up a little bit more. Still not anywhere near where you got in, but it's starting to go up. You go ahead and you buy your 5 ounces that you can buy with $20 an ounce for a $100 budget. And then in month 12, it goes up to $25 an ounce. You buy 4 ounces and you're done for the year. And you look at your year, and you started way up at $35. It went to $40 and then $50. But then it just started dropping, as markets have a habit of doing from time to time. They do fluctuate. And in this market drop, it goes all the way down to $15 an ounce. And you're just certain that disaster is hit. It does recover a little bit. It goes up to $25 an ounce, but still, that's quite a bit below where you started buying. But I want you to notice something from this dollar cost averaging strategy. If you have continued each month to invest that $100 a month, even while it was going down, at the end of the year, you will have bought 49 ounces of silver. And at the ending price of $25 an ounce, that's going to be worth $1,225. That's actually $25 more than you invested. Now, that's not that big of a deal, But my point is, in a market that was declining, that was taking a loss month after month after month, and finally just started recovering a little bit at the end, you have still more than broken even on that. And this is the beauty of dollar cost averaging. When prices go down, instead of getting depressed, you're excited because you can buy more. You can buy more ounces of silver, you can buy more shares of your mutual fund, whatever it is that you're buying. When prices are down, they're on sale. Everybody loves a sale, it seems like, except in the stock market and in investments. And people start thinking, well, I'm taking a loss. When in fact what they're doing is they're beginning a practice that in the long run is going to pay off some pretty handsome dividends. Now with this pay yourself first money, this long-term investment type of money, you really do need to have a longer horizon in mind. If you've just got a year or two before you're going to need that money, you're probably better off just leaving it in cash for now. But if you're just starting out, you're just out of college, or you and your spouse are newlyweds, and you're just beginning, or maybe even you're in your 30s or 40s or 50s, but you've still got a horizon of about 20 years or more before you have to sell it. Well, this dollar cost averaging on the whole will typically give you some pretty good results, because over time, if it's a prudent investment, it will typically appreciate in value. Just inflation alone is going to cause most things to go up. When I first started investing in silver in 1981, silver was about $7 an ounce. By the time I really got into investing in silver in the 90s, the early 2000s, it had dropped as low as $3.50 an ounce, seeming to be a failure as far as an investment plan. But then the years kept going by, and as they did, silver started steadily creeping up, just like the stock market steadily creeps up. And now we see that silver in today's market is worth about 10 times what it was about 25, 30 years ago. And you'll find the same thing for the stock market. There will be long periods, long bear markets, where things just seem to go down all the time. And if you're not careful, you'll get discouraged. But if you've made a prudent investment, if you've investigated what you're investing thoroughly and you have a confidence in it, well, you don't worry so much when prices go down, because even when they're going down, you're buying more and more and more of that. And there will come a point where they go back up. And you can, at that point, take profit, or at least take part of your profit. It's always prudent when you've made a quick profit in something, or even a good profit over a period of years, to take a little bit of that profit off the table. Go ahead and pay your taxes on that. Give something back to God for the increase on that. And then if it goes down again, you can reinvest it at a lower price, or you can put it into something else that you wanted to invest in. The idea behind dollar cost averaging is it gives you a source of protection, because you're not putting everything into it all at once and then just experiencing the wild gyrations of any market that you're going to get into. Well, that's the concept of dollar cost averaging. Hope it gives you some information that will be profitable in your own life and useful in your own life. But this is just one of the ways, with this pay yourself first type of investment strategy, that you can start to invest in a prudent way, and also be confident that over the years your investments will continue to grow so that you can use them for something productive later on. Well, hope this is something that you found helpful today, and I hope that you'll come back again for the next video. But thanks for tuning in today, and I hope we'll see you next time. God bless.